Okay, here we have the same image that we used in the dodge and burn overlay mode technique. And now I want to show you a different way to dodge and burn using a simple curve or group of curves. And maybe show you an advanced way to do this, which I developed many years ago while working in New York City. So let me just start. The first one we did was the overlay mode, where we use a single layer and put that layer with 50% gray in overlay mode, and we either paint with white or black to dodge and burn the area. The next one I do is very similar. I create a group. I'm going to call this D and B. You can call it anything that you like. And now we're going to be using curves to lighten and darken. It's a little more elaborate and takes a little bit more time to actually do it, but this is my preferred method of doing things. And I'll explain why in the next tutorial, where we'll actually go over the differences between overlay and curves in dodging and burning. So the first thing we do is we create a new curve, and let's just call this dodge, just for the sake of argument. Here's the curve. We grab the middle and bump it up a bunch, and we fill this layer with black to hide everything, this mask, and we hide everything, because we're going to be painting on this in specific areas. The next one we do is we make another curve, and we call this burn. We hit OK. Go to the same area, and we darken the heck out of it, and then fill this with black. Very simple, right? Now, in order to dodge and burn using this method, we just have to switch. We paint with white. We don't have to paint with white and black. The only time we paint with black using this method is when we want to remove some of the dodging or some of the burning. But it's not even necessary, because you can stay with white and just paint on the opposite layer. So I'll get into that more in the next tutorial. So I'm just going to give you, this is a quick overview on how to set up the actual curves layers for dodging and burning. So here we have the image. Here's the dodge layer, and here's the burn layer. We do the same thing. When we want to start dodging, we grab a brush. As you can see up here, 10% and 1%, that's like in the last one. And with a very, very subtle amount of white, I start to paint subtly with a very, very minor amount, especially this image. Some images may require a little bit more. This requires a little bit more finesse, because the dark shadow area is a little less obtrusive here. So we do that. If we want to burn, we go to the burn layer. And maybe we'll come into this area down here, and we'll start painting with white in this area. Or maybe down here in this area to kind of darken that up. Dodging and burning. Now, just like I discussed in the overlay mode technique, the way I tweaked this was I wanted to be able to have my eyes not work so hard to see what I'm trying to dodge and burn. So the way I came up with was making a contrast curve, just like we did in the last one. And here I may pump up the lights like this and make it nice and contrasty. And like I said in the last tutorial with the overlay mode, this is going to exhaust your eyes if you try and dodge and burn using all these bright saturated colors. So on top of this, we just use a hue saturation layer and desaturate everything. And the reason why we do that is simple. We don't need to see color right now. We just need to see luminosity. We need to see where the problem areas are. So this is what's great about this. I can reset this curve. And I say, okay, this is the area that I actually want to dodge and burn. Let me remove what I did before by getting rid of the dodging, filling it with black on the dodge and the burn layers. So as if we're starting from scratch. Now here's the contrast layer. I select the area that I'm thinking about dodging and burning. Let's just say I want to darken this up. Notice how when I make the image darker, look how the blotchiness actually starts to come out a little bit more. If I want to bring it out even more, I may go to a highlight like this. Or maybe even up here. And try and find the area of interest, as Dan Margolis would say, right around here, and create the steepest curve. I recommend you check out all the Dan Margolis books on color correction, by the way, if you haven't. So now with this situation, I can use the same dodging and burning technique, painting with white at a very minimal opacity, coming in this area, and I get to see a little clearer what my work is doing, what my actual dodging and burning is doing. I can see more of the gritty stuff that's in the image, allowing me to be cleaner. If I want to darken or burn anything, I come into the burn channel and do the same thing. I'm not trying to be perfect here. I'm not trying to retouch this image. I'm giving you a brief overview of how this all works. I will be dodging and burning for real in the upcoming skin tutorials, so stay tuned for that. So this is what we have. We remove this when we're ready to roll, hide this, and we're good. That is how you set up the curves. Again, we have the dodge curve, the burn curve, a contrast curve, and a hue saturation curve. A lot of people don't use this method. I've never actually seen anyone use this method in a retouching studio. I'm not saying it hasn't been used, but I've never seen it. This is just something I added to it from working in the many studios back in New York. So this is the curves mode, or the curves technique for dodging and burning. Now I'm going to go over the differences between the overlay mode and the curves mode together, and you can choose which one actually works best for you.